Hey, welcome to the beersjackofbbq. Check out the first cook we did on the SNS Rotisserie. Hey, I'm Craig, man behind the camera's Jack. Yep, got a brand new SNS Rotisserie for the Kettle. I know they already had one, I believe, for their Komodo style grill, but got one for the Kettle. Figured the first, we like to do tomahawks, but can't really do a tomahawk necessarily on the rotisserie. But we got a nice big 3-bone roaster, about 7.5 pounds. Before I trimmed it, so I probably trimmed maybe 3/4 of a pound off of this. I did tie it up to try to truss it a little bit more and make it a little bit more round, so it works on the rotisserie. Hit it a couple hours ago with the Grillaholics SPG. Just a good flavor, just straight up SPG on this thing. I'll show you how we get it once I get it skewered here to get it for the rotisserie. I'm going to put the meter probe in here as well to monitor the cook. I'm going to try to have it running maybe about 275. I'm not sure if I can get it down that low, but we'll see what happens. 275 for the cook until it gets to maybe about 100. And then I'm going to crank it up and just let it kind of really go to town to see if it almost gives that crust to it. Not sure how it's going to work yet, but we'll see on the grill. You saw us light up the charcoals with that fire cage. That fire cage is really cool because of just how hot it even gets. I mean, he's already light and nice to start with. They get even hotter. So we have links and stuff in there if you want to get yourself some fire cups. But, let's get this on. All right, pretty much centered. Gonna let that roll. And we're, like I said, going to try to keep the temperature down on this. The flame's going now, but I'll knock it down as soon as I get the lid on. But looks like it's rolling pretty nice. Like I said, got the meter in there to monitor the grill temp and the rib temp. So we'll bring you back when we get closer, probably towards 80 to take a peek at it. All right, just hit 80, so let's take a look at it. Looks good. Man, that looks really good, actually. So we're going to let it ride. Like I said, when it gets towards 100, I'm going to open up all the vents and just let the heat get up there to kind of finish it off and see if it gives us some kind of crust. So we'll bring it back as we get to 100. We got a little bit of a flop there going on, but that's all right. Still cooking nice and evenly the way it looks. All right, so we just hit 100. I opened the vents when we hit 99. Just wanted to give you a peek before we let this thing go, but we were running about 290 according to the meter, and the meter's saying that's where, like I said, for the 99 degrees. Now I opened everything wide open, and we're just going to let this finish off to about 120-ish. And then we'll bring it back showing things what it looks like. But it's looking nice. All right, we should be done here. So, quick reading. And get this with my glove on. Got it. I know I checked the spot. It was a little bit higher. And I'm missing the, down there where it was. So I did have like a 120 something reading, but we're going to pull it off. We'll see you on the cutting board here shortly. As always, cheers. Here we are into the cook. Had the SNS kettle with the rotisserie attachment on there. I lied, I said we were doing a 3-bone because the previous one I had was a 3-bone. I assumed this was the same. It's actually only a 2-bone, but still a big hunk of meat. It was 7.5 pounds. Like I said, packaged. I did trim, so like I said, fat off before we put it on here, but hit it with SPG before the cook, about 3 hours before we cooked it. Let that sit in there. The fridge smelled fantastic. Showed you lighting in the beginning with the fire cups that we always use, but they came out with a fire cage as well, and basically just sits over the fire cup. And these things burn hot and fast and long to start with. With that cage there, that got that fire going even faster. It was pretty impressive to see that. So kind of go over the details of the cook. We had it running. I was fighting a little bit, and the reason was, it was my own fault. We did a cook before this one. I just added more charcoal, kind of went at it, so the whole bed was kind of lit. For doing something like this where I want to try to keep it low, I would have probably just lit a corner and do it almost like a low and slow cook as a start. but it only had the smoke hole open halfway and the vents in the top about less than halfway, and it was holding about 290. Got to 80, showed you, got to about 100, showed you, but then I opened up all the vents at that point. Got to about 380, I think, till it was done here at the end. And I was getting a good reading of 122 or something like that from the meter. And then when I checked it, it seemed higher. So I may have overshot this one. We'll see what happens when I cut into it. But let's cut this down the middle and see how we look. It's juicy, I can tell you that. Gotta get... Yeah, I'm a past medium rare here. But that's all right, because like I said, it's super juicy. So let's get a piece of the cap here. That's my favorite part. Make sure I get the string out of the way. I know the crust looks amazing on this thing. On that, but yeah, it's a good, maybe a little medium rare right there in towards the bone, but just a hair over. But I think it's still going to be good. Boy, the flavor is outstanding. The SPG on there, and then the crust from the rotisserie. But man, that rotisserie thing is nice. Everything's stainless steel. If you aren't using the rotisserie with a rod and it can raise your grill and make it a little bit taller for doing something bigger in there, they actually, just like on their grill, they have vents, or the vent caps to actually close the holes to get less air flow into there. They really thought of everything making that rotisserie. So we'll link for that in our description there for you as well. But hope you like what you're seeing. Subscribe to the channel, click the little bell, get notifications, and we'll see you next time.